Yeah, I'm for that, just so it gives people more options in terms of who they want to vote for.
Do it. I think it's great. I think that anyone who wants to run, I think should honestly run regardless of what they are, because honestly, they may be better than the other person who's a name, you can say.
With respect to Proposition 14, I believe that anyone should be able to vote for whoever they want, regardless of what party they're affiliated with.
I think it's a great idea. I think everybody should be able to vote for all the candidates in the beginning, so we all have a great table of people to choose from.
I do like the idea that you could cross party lines very easily without not feel excluded from somebody that you agree with. If there's somebody who you agree with that's going to a Republican primary and they don't get in, and so you have to vote for your second best candidate who's a Democrat, for instance, that would be pretty rough for someone, so I can see how it would be very beneficial.
I think that having an open primary is a really good system. I'm not a political scientist, so I don't have all the answers to how that would affect our voting system, but it really seems like right now our choices are limited by being stuck in our own parties for primaries, and I really think it'd be interesting to see how people's voting changed if we opened it up.
I would like the option to be able to pick whatever party I want at the time.
I think Proposition 14, having an open primary is a good idea because it will encourage people to become more interested in the election at an earlier stage, and also increase participation if people are more interested in the primary. I think that they would be more likely to follow the election and then vote in the general election later on in the fall.
I think that's a good thing. More competition leads to better results. I mean, this is America. We believe in competition.
I agree with it. Lots of times in primary elections, I feel like the worst comes out in the candidates because they're trying to distinguish themselves from their own party members, so they tend to become more extreme. And in this sense, if voters were allowed to vote for any person in any party, I think it would force them to be a little more centrist and moderate, which I think is more beneficial.
They want to use their gut feel. They don't want to study exactly, what each candidate stands for, and so I worry in that case that then you don't have the party differences. And that it could all be skewed in one direction. So that would be my concern. Again, it's something that I would read carefully and would not listen to, the bias that you'll find in the TV commercial.
I think that's also a good idea, just off the top of my head, because I'm just from what I know about people who are like party affiliated, they tend to choose one candidate or another without really looking at who's actually a better candidate. So I think it would be better to just kind of eliminate the bias of a party system.
Prop 14, I like the idea of that, just only because when I first registered to vote, you had to pick a party when I was 18, and then I'm an uninformed, uneducated voter at that point, that I should be able to broaden my horizons if I want to change my mind.
I agree with that. I've been in situations where I've wanted to vote for another candidate even though it's not that candidate is not affiliated with my party, and so I would welcome any opportunity to vote for somebody who's qualified and not based solely on their political affiliation.
Elections. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Because I think that I think that. Though I think it's been argued that if you can vote in any one, then you might vote for the weak person in the other party so that your person could win. But maybe I'm getting confused. But mostly I think it's good to be able to vote. I'm pretty sure I think it's good to be able to vote for in any primary.
Okay. There's no reason to delineate between parties. It just creates more controversy.
I think that Proposition 14 is good because I don't really subscribe to a specific party, so I think it would be great if I could choose whatever primary person I want, regardless of what party they subscribe to.
I like Proposition 14. I think that it's a good idea to have open primaries.
the primary system has been shown again and again to really encourage extremism and extreme partisanism, and I think that it's going to have a more moderating influence on the type of politics that go on in this state.
I'm going to vote yes on Prop 14 because I think people should be able to vote for whoever they want in the primary.
I think that Proposition 14, again, it sounds pretty good, but at the same time, I don't like to think that I vote on party lines, but I also I don't think I'd really ever vote for a Republican candidate or a Libertarian candidate at the same time, so I don't really know that it helps, and I don't know, I don't really know that will that lead to better voting or less people voting because they don't even know who the candidates are? I mean, is the ballot going to say what party these candidates belong to, or is it just going to be a sheet of names? I mean, maybe if there's no party listed, then maybe that'll lead to increased just random voting, and it won't actually be a true election where people are voting for who they actually want because they're uninformed. So I guess I need to read more about that one, the details.